2, 3.
Hello, my name is Connie Risch. I'm an artist from Guthrie, Oklahoma. My medium is oil painting on canvas and panel. My subjects are nature, anything of nature, floral, botanical, landscapes. I like the animals. Currently I'm working on a large scale series, a 30 by 30 enlarged florals that brings the viewer directly into it, up close and personal. I am classically trained, so I am a little bit more of a realist, but there are elements of the impressionist in there. Bright colors, lots of light, lots of shadow, my favorite things. I went to school at the Conservatory for Classical Art in Edmond, Oklahoma. Attended a 5-year atelier there and a year of independent study. And I have just been showing my art professionally for the past 2.5 years.
And how could people contact you?
Yes, you can find me. You can just Google my name, Connie Risch, or you can find my website is connie-risch.pixels.com, or just punch in Fine Art America and put in my name and you'll find me there. I'm all over the web.
Hi, my name is Jim Sharp. I'm originally from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Now live in Edmond, Oklahoma. 2.5 years ago, my father passed away, and the effects of that led me to think about things that I'd always wanted to try to do and never had tried. As a kid growing up, I used to watch Bill Alexander and Dick Ross, I forgot his first name, and always thought, you know, I think I could do that, but I never had a chance to try. And so 2.5 years ago, I went to the Hobby Lobby and bought some paint and canvases and brushes and came home and had 2 large bags in my hand, and my wife said, "What are you going to do?" Or "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm going to paint." And that started my art journey. And then I found some online classes and joined an online art school. And then it led me to going to workshops and different opportunities to sort of mingle with other artists in the Oklahoma City area. And then ended up taking some instructions from the Conservatory of Classical Art in Edmond and learned to do some drawing and some painting. Most of my work right now is in acrylic. I do some charcoal drawing and also some graphite and colored pencils. I enjoy all phases of those. I did my very first watercolor painting the other day, which turned out to be pretty good. All of this has been a surprise to my family, my friends, like, why didn't you discover this sooner? I will soon turn to be 70. I retired a year ago, and so now I have plenty of time to devote to my painting, and which I try to do about every day. And so I think I'm improving. And here at the Graceful Arts Gallery and Studio, I have several of my more recent paintings I've done in acrylic, and then some smaller miniature paintings that I did. I really hope that you come out and take a look at the paintings, other artists that are here. I think Joe Decker has done a great job in putting together a different group of artists at this one showing in November. So looking forward to see what the outcome is. You can get in touch with me on my website at Jim Sharp Studio. Also, you can email me at jimsharpstudio@yahoo.com.
Hi, I'm Janetta Smith, and I'm an artist from Edmond, Oklahoma, and I paint with acrylic. I like to paint bright colors. I paint in an expressionist style. I love to have a figurative abstract going, so you kind of recognize what I'm painting, yet I kind of add a little bit of what I see in my mind with it. I started painting 9-10 years ago. I started painting under Bert Seaborn. He is a very well-known artist in Oklahoma City, and through his teachings I've learned to create my own idea of what I see, and I love that part of being an artist. I also train under a New Mexico artist. Her name's Sandra Durham Wilson, and a Mobile, Alabama artist. I feel like that gives me a good round kind of teaching there, and her name is Ardith Goodwin. And through those three, I've come to find my own style and have a lot of fun with color and with lines and markings and be able to make a story out of each of my paintings. So the paintings I have here, I have my fish, my sweet tangs is what I call them. And I have an Indian painting, and that's because of Bert and what he has instilled in me through my classes with him. And just some free painting of a horse and a cow. I just like to paint anything I see, so I don't have any particular subject that I'm locked onto. I like to try a little bit of everything, and I explore different media. I explore different types of ways that I can mark up, and who knows what I'll be doing tomorrow.
And how can people contact you?
You can contact me at www.janettasmithart.com. That's JANETTA Smith, SMITH, art.com. I also just opened up my new studio in downtown Oklahoma City in the Automobile Alley, and it's called 14th Street Studios. So I always have work there as well. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Joe Allen Gibson Jr. One of the nice things about having my name is Joe Allen. It's all one word, Joeallen. When you Google it, it's the only thing that comes up. And that's the only advantage to having Joe Allen for a first name. My first awareness that I had any artistic ability at all was in the 3rd grade, which was a very difficult grade for me because I was dyslexic before anybody knew what dyslexic was. But I excelled in art class, and there was an award ceremony in class there. They were giving out all these academic awards in grade school, and I was sitting at the back going, I'd never hear my name. Not possible. I can't even read. And all of a sudden, I heard my name called out as the outstanding 3rd grade art student. And I told my dad I wanted to be an artist. Well, back in my generation, that wasn't allowed. So I went on to college, was educated here in Oklahoma, both at Oklahoma State and OU, with a BS in geophysics and a master's in international finance. I worked in the oil patch for a number of years, although I wasn't in the office most of the time. I spent most of my time in the field. And that's where my art inspiration comes from. I always wanted to be an artist, but wasn't able to become one until I retired from the oil patch about 9 years ago. And most of my paintings deal directly with some type of earth science topic. When I started painting, I took an old adage from writers, and writers say, write what you know. So I decided to paint what I knew, and it's just evolved a lot like geology continues to evolve around us. My art's evolved from fairly simplistic to extremely complicated. Most of it's a series of earthen-based media built up on canvas through a sculpting process first and then colors added. And it produces some very interesting pictures, at least to me, and some private companies and buildings that have bought them. So I'm tickled to death to be here tonight at Graceful Arts. They do so much for the community with education of the public school system. It's my duty to support JODEC. I'm honored to be here tonight, and I hope you all can make it out and see my work.
How would people contact you?
You can contact me at geojag245@gmail.com, or you can look at my website www.geoism geoism-art.com.
Hello, I'm Nancy Russell. I'm a sculptor by trade. I started out as a wood carver many years ago, and my projects were getting so complicated that I started doing working models out of clay. And I loved the clay so much, and as I got older, the wood and the chisel and mallet and air hammer got very hard to use. So now I do almost entirely clay. I love the water clays, porcelain, terracotta. I also like to work with plasticine too if I'm going to be doing the bronze. I did Mrs. Brown that sits in front of the Running Mead in Alva, Oklahoma. And my work is on display at the museum here, Graceful Arts. And you can contact me through Graceful Arts. My husband and I live out on a ranch, and we repurposed all the outbuildings. So the old chicken coop is now my studio, and the old oil house is where my husband writes his novels. And we're very happy there, and we try to keep things old. When you go by, the buildings are gray and little white with charcoal, and all the doors are caution yellow, which we really like, and people can find us. I was born in Minnesota and lived there for 20 years, and then came to Oklahoma and been here most of that time. Lived in Louisville while my husband was at the University of Louisville, a professor. But the River Valley didn't agree with me, so we came back to Oklahoma. And here it doesn't agree with me either, but I've been taking allergy shots for 40 years, and I get by just pretty well. I worked a lot with other artists. I don't know if you're from Oklahoma, you probably know Fred Ohl or heard of Fred Ohl's. He has murals in many of our museums here, and I worked with him for several years. His wife was my friend, and I didn't know Fred. And Sheldon took a year's leave of absence from the university in Edmond, and we came out to the ranch for 1 year, and that's where I started my artwork, my sculpture. I've always done artwork, but most of it behind a sewing machine, and I don't do that anymore. And I did some work while that year, showed it to his wife, who is my friend, and she said, "Oh, I want Fred to see this." That's how I met Fred Ohl's, and we worked together then for years, and had a good time, and could see my friend Flo, his wife, and it was great. And then we moved to Guthrie first, and redid an old building, and I had a studio and a gallery there. Did that for about 12 years, and then Sheldon, he can't stay put for more than 10 years usually in one spot. It's probably usually max, but we made it there for about 12 years, and then he wanted to move back to the home place, back to the ranch. So that's where we are now, and I don't think he's going to ask to move again. We're very happy there.
Okay, I'm Barbara White. I'm resident Cherokee, Oklahoma. I've been doing the fusing glass and that type of art for about the last year. A friend of mine got me started in putting the glass in the kiln and working with his, and it wasn't long until I had my own kiln. So, but I make a lot of the glass to make my own jewelry. I make other items, small boxes, plates, but I like to just put the glass in and melt it and see what it comes out. And sometimes I just keep layering to see, what colors I get from it, and I get a pretty good design from the glass. And most of my things I have sold through Graceful Arts here at the studio, and she keeps a lot of my things on her display.